Hello, welcome to week 19 of our readings in our trip through the Bible in 1 year. And this week we are looking at 4 new books of the Bible. 2 of them we'll read through straight away because they're about the size, if you were to copy it out, of about an A4 piece of paper. And those 2 are 2 John and 3 John. We read 1 John last week. Here are 2 very short follow-up letters, both emphasizing the same thing in many ways, truth and love, but focusing on different lacks in the different letters. So one of them will talk about the fact that people are moving away from the truth, and therefore you need to be aware of that and you need to take steps to correct that. One is not necessarily about truth, because I think the person teaching that is warned about is being truthful, but is really hard-hearted and isn't displaying a lot of love or charity or anything to others. And so it just reminds us, both those 2 short letters, love and truth, need to go hand in hand. Having finished 1 Samuel, we saw that Saul had died, and 2 Samuel takes up that story from where that left off, reminding us that David hears the news and he laments. He laments the passing of Jonathan, a really, really close friend. And that's not surprising. What is perhaps more surprising is he also laments Saul's passing. And indeed, the phrase that we often use, how the mighty have fallen, is used of these 2 in the laments that David writes or speaks. David becomes king over Judah, but that doesn't mean the skirmish between Saul's army and David's men is over, as we read the first 4 chapters of 2 Samuel. And then we come to the wonderful book of Romans, which is so rich in teaching us about God and his purposes for us and the state that we're in and what he has done to rectify that for us. So it starts with the bad news that we are really lost in sin, that there is no one who is righteous, not even the Jews who might have thought, well, we've got this religious pedigree, we've got this background, we're going to be okay. But none of us are righteous. And it goes on to spell out as well that God is a judge. God will judge our lives on the scale and in the balance and dictates our punishment or reward as a result. And yet, as well as being a judge, he is also faithful. And that thing about faith is key to us having any chance when we meet God as judge, because it's made very clear that except through faith in Jesus, none of us are righteous. And he even uses the example of Abraham, one of the great Old Testament saints, by saying he was justified through faith. It wasn't through what he did or anything of his own merit. It's because he exercised faith and trust in God. And he goes on to unpack the peace and the joy that we can have as a result of that, and the fact that we are now, if we are exercising faith in Christ, we can be dead to sin and alive instead in him. And the big contrast that paints. Some wonderful pieces in Romans, that repays some close reading and rereading. I think you're going to enjoy that this week. And as well as then 2 John and 3 John and 2 Samuel chapters 1 to 4 and Romans chapter 1 to 6. Trying to remember this, which is never very easy, and various Psalms, which you'll find listed below as well. Those are our readings for week 19. So look at the progress that we've been able to make with God's help. Pray that he'll speak to you as you go through those books of the Bible this week. God bless you.